Inhale. Exhale. Just breathe. Just breathe. Wow. You have to get up, do what they do. But that was insane. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Come on. I make go records, baby. I'm liking this. Hello everyone, welcome to Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thanks for tuning in. The Blackhawks playing their third game of the season, blow a 2-goal lead and lose in overtime at home to the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 3-2. Now, obviously, the result of this game was definitely frustrating, but there were some positive things that happened and some things to take a look at and be optimistic about. Camden Rose, first and foremost, being in the lineup, no longer injured. That is a definite positive. Our defense looks a lot more solid with him in the lineup. Yes, we still did have some defensive breakdowns, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But in general, I am a lot more confident about our defense with him in the lineup. It's good to have him back and no longer injured. First periods have been a real positive, not just in this game, but all season long, all 3 games of this season. It's allowed us to score the first goal in every single game. We come out playing hard, playing aggressive, just playing fast with a lot of confidence. I'm really liking how we're coming out of the gate to start games. Obviously, the next step is taking that play and getting that to be in the second period and third period as well. And then also we got to learn how to play with the leads we're getting in that first period. But it's a good first start. It's a good step to be at right now because we can build off it. We just got to learn how. I thought our fourth line in this game tonight was a big reason for that first period push. Smith, Carpenter, Perlini flying around out there, forechecking hard, really making it tough on the Jets, coming out of their own zone. They were laying hits, throwing their body around, forcing the Jets to turn the puck over. And it was great to see. And then on top of that, our special teams units played much better tonight. We killed off 3 out of the 4 penalties. We even scored a goal shorthanded. And then power play, we scored once on our 2 chances. Much better tonight on that front. Hopefully we can continue that play, and tonight was not just an anomaly. So let's break this game down here. Starting in the first period, as we mentioned, Hawks coming out looking really good. Unfortunately, 4 minutes in, they find themselves on a PK. You have Saad and Carpenter out there as forwards, and Carpenter makes a fantastic play here. Now, we picked Carpenter up in the offseason to improve our penalty kill unit, and on this play, he did that and then some. He picks the pocket of Kyle Connor and then blows past Patrick Laine. Yes, Carpenter blows past Laine because Laine is just a deer in the headlights on defense, and it's a 2-on-1. Carpenter finds a way to get the puck over to Saad. The puck's kind of bouncing on him, rolling at least, and Saad just finds a way to redirect it 5-hole past Hellebuyck and in. Blackhawks have an early 1-goal lead. Shorty, you can't ask for anything more than that. Now, the Hawks actually had 2 more golden opportunities to score on that same penalty kill. I still don't know how Connor Hellebuyck made the save on Kajula there. So close to extending the lead and getting 2 shorthanded goals on that PK. Unfortunate there. It would have been really nice to have, obviously, as the game progressed. But with about 7.5 minutes left to go in that first period, Blackhawks find themselves on the power play. Duncan Keith gets a shot from the point through to Hellebuyck, rebounds, and the puck somehow finds its way to Seabrook, and he pots it home. Blackhawks have a 2-goal lead and take the worst lead in hockey into the second period. And it's the worst lead in hockey for, well, a couple reasons. When you have a 2-goal lead, somewhere in the back of your mind, you feel like you have a little bit of room to spare. And subconsciously, you start playing with a little bit more complacency, maybe a little less focus. And it's not by a lot. It's not by a lot. But in hockey, it doesn't take that much because the puck is traveling at ridiculous speeds and deflecting or taking bounces in ridiculous ways. And so you think, okay, well, if they score a goal, it's all right because we'll still have the lead. The problem is when they do score that goal, there's a combination of, well, now they have some confidence and feel like they're right back in this game. And also, the pressure for you amps up and you feel like you have to actually start playing perfect and making really good plays. And it kind of looked like that's what happened with the Hawks in this game. They definitely did not look like the same team in the first period compared to the rest of the game. I think part of that is due to the Jets making adjustments after the first period. And whether or not the Hawks just didn't adjust back or the players just didn't execute those counter adjustments, I don't know. But the Hawks definitely struggled in that second period, just making simple plays, getting out of the defensive zone. In the first period, they were transitioning fantastically. And then I think the Jets tried to take away something, and the Hawks just couldn't execute, differently. I noticed that, and I'm singling out DeBrincat here, but I noticed a couple times in that second period, DeBrincat made a lot of soft plays trying to get the puck out of the zone. They got picked off, led to more offensive zone time for the Jets. And no matter what you're doing when you're breaking out, you cannot make a soft play. If you make a wrong read and, the puck gets trapped along the boards and kept in by a Jets player, but you made a hard play out, it just didn't get out, I can live with that. But when you make soft plays and they don't get out, that burns. Now, it certainly didn't help that the Hawks took 2 penalties in the first half of that second period, because that really handcuffed them in being able to transition the momentum they had in that first period and take that and get it into the second period. They just couldn't get their footing in that regard, and it certainly didn't help that the Jets were able to capitalize on one of those power plays and get themselves back into the game. I still don't know how that puck got through on that power play goal. It looked like the puck just teleported through Leonard's leg pads. Leonard had the 5-hole closed, and the puck just somehow got through it? I don't know. I've looked at the replay multiple times, and I still don't understand it. It defies physics. I'm pretty sure it's just a glitch in the game, and the developers really need to look at fixing that in the next patch. The Hawks would find a way to keep their lead going into the third period, but really the Hawks need to find a way to not consistently just play like crap in the second period. And it's not just this year. This happened all of last year too. I don't know how it's so consistent, but the Hawks need to find a way to have motivation, have legs, do something better in the second period. Thankfully, the Hawks would play much more solid in the third period, but it would only take one breakdown. And when I say breakdown, I mean like a really bad breakdown for the Jets to tie the game up. Andrew Kopp, all alone, back post. You can see here we have 4 guys just looking at the puck, just drifting away. And I'm of the opinion that this was Taves' guy, and he should have been there, and Dach would have been covering the guy in the slot. But whether it's Taves' fault or Dach's fault, and you got to remember, Dach, this was his first game for the Hawks. The chemistry just may not be there between him and Taves or him and the center, because you got to remember, down low, the slot area around the goal, it's a group effort defensively between the defenseman and the center to cover and play good, solid defense. And when you have a breakdown like we did here, where either Taves thought he should be covering the slot, even though his guy probably was Kopp, you get something like this and you get a tie game. Now, I'm leaning towards this being Taves' guy because, number one, Taves was the closest guy there. Dach was already closer to the guy in the slot, so it makes sense just for Taves to kind of check back and stay at that back post. But also, earlier in the game, there was a situation where Scheifele was left all alone in front of the net too. Leonard had to stack his pads to make the save, but Dylan Strome was the center there. The defensemen were kind of away from the goal, and Strome just kind of drifted away like he was supposed to be, starting the breakout when defensively we're not out of the woods yet. We have centers right now, and in these instances, Taves and Strome, who are not completing their defensive assignments and are looking too far ahead to try and start offense before they should. And it's leading to breakdowns, and, well, it's leading to the Hawks not being able to close out games or win games or or just giving up goals at bad times. So this game goes into overtime. Blackhawks get their first point of the season, which is something, which is better than nothing. But, oh boy, 47 seconds in, Scheifele scores from top of the circles, and I have no idea what happened here. Patrick Kane, first off, giving him like 20 feet of room to take this shot, which boggles my mind because I know Patrick Kane's not the best defensive player out there, but when you think of 3-on-3 hockey and Patrick Kane being a guy that would fly the zone and try and get breakaways or try and get odd man rushes going the other way, to be able to do that, Patrick Kane needs to be closer to the blue line. Like, you would think he'd be covering Scheifele a little bit closer than that. At the same time, it is the type of shot that you would expect your goalie to save, and at first look, it did look like a real soft goal for Leonard to give up. However, in the post-game press conference, Leonard did say that the puck kind of dove on him, and that would explain it, because otherwise he should save that puck pretty much 10 out of 10 times. But the puck reacting weird in the air happens, kind of knuckles on him, dives on him, can't save it. Hawks lose and waste a point. Frustrating. So the Hawks still looking for their first win on the season. Unfortunately, they have to play the undefeated Edmonton Oilers in their next game. The Oilers coming into town undefeated with a 5-0 record, playing with a lot of confidence, probably feeling really good about themselves, and probably expecting to leave Chicago still undefeated. But wouldn't it be nice to give them their first loss? I'm thinking so. But to be able to do that, we're going to have to shore some things up. I would expect to see Leonard getting the nod again to start in net for the Hawks in that Oilers game, despite him losing to the Jets for the first time in his career tonight. Big thanks to Pat Foley for jinxing him in the pregame. But Leonard played well in this one, and he looked really good. But I would also like to say that we should be careful in kind of comparing our two goalies at this point in the season in trying to figure out who's our number one, because we just haven't had a whole lot of sample size to judge. And preseason, I just don't put a whole lot of stock into preseason. So those performances are just kind of whatever. Because the fact of the matter is, through 3 games, small sample size, Leonard has played once, Crawford has played twice. All 3 games, the defense has been different. The lines have been different. Like, the team in front of these goaltenders is still a work in progress. Leonard didn't have to face a whole lot of traffic in front of the net in this game. Crawford definitely didn't in that San Jose game. So when you're comparing performances, you're kind of comparing apples to oranges. So we're going to have to look at, long term, like after probably about 10 or so games, you can start kind of comparing these goaltenders, seeing, okay, who's the number one or who's the number two. But despite who is eventually the number one, whether it's Leonard or Crawford, the fact of the matter is these guys are essentially a tandem. Like, they're going to be playing very similar amounts of games this year. I would highly, highly doubt, unless there's an injury, I highly doubt that the guy who gets more starts eclipses 50 starts this year. I just don't see it happen. And that's the point of this kind of 1A, 1B type of thing. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. Let me know your thoughts about the game and everybody's performance down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate that as always. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.